Hello everyone and welcome back to Kitten Space Agency, where it occurred to me that we sort of have the engines that would be necessary to build a Saturn V rocket, even though we can't start on the ground, and we might not have the tanks to build sort of a Saturn V rocket. It'll be a somewhat under-thrust Saturn V rocket, but I'll show you what I mean. So let's go into the vehicle editor, this editor toggle here. Apparently the shortcut key has been disabled, so perhaps they don't want me to do this. But anyway, we're here now, and thanks to the people who mentioned that the chemicals for this OP engine are actually the components of catnip. It's very funny. That makes sense. And of course, 100 kilograms is very light for that. But let's talk about Apollo Saturn V. Of course, we don't have an Apollo command module. For some reason, they really like Gemini around here, even though it has nothing to do with cats. This is the closest I can get. It should, of course, be flatter, and then I put this as a service module on it. This engine here is roughly the thrust of an Apollo service module engine. Unfortunately, it uses hydrogen and oxygen, so it's obviously more like an RL-10, but we don't have anything else. At least it's the right thrust. So we have sort of a service module engine there, and that is fancy. One thing we're missing here is any sort of delta V reading, of course. I imagine this gets quite a lot of delta V already, and we hardly need a whole lot more. But let's talk about the subsequent stages. Now, what we don't have, and maybe we need a wider one or a longer one, what we don't have is a lot of tapered tanks. There's like no conical tanks. So what I need to see is, and we have a lot of small tanks that I don't care for. Can I just strap some tanks on the side? Okay, so we can strap tanks on the side. That's a good thing. We do have little tanks like that, but we have this, and I really don't need that. We have a depressing lack of tanks that really fit our pod naturally. I mean, I wish there was a form factor that fit directly under so that we could have something like that. We also don't have any heat shields, but there's no heat system. But all the tanks require some adapter. And so we can't have a straight one like the Apollo service module tank like that. Okay, we can zoom out quite a lot though. That's encouraging. The VAB as it is big, but that's as far as I can zoom out, by the way. So the next thing is that we know that we have this LR91 vacuum engine. And what I would encourage you to notice is that it's a hydrogen and oxygen engine, and it gets 953 kilonewtons of thrust, where the J2 engine got 1,021 kilonewtons of thrust, although it was able to throttle down to this level as well. And earlier variants did have even less than this. So it's basically splitting the difference on the J2 engine. And then the ISP of the J2 engine is a little bit less than this at 421. So basically, this is an okay J2 stage, except that it's a bit thin. If we really wanted to make it accurate, it needs to be thicker, and therefore we would have to strap on some additional things that would make it so, but I don't know if they would flow correctly. Like, we don't have fuel lines here right now, so I don't know if I strap something onto the side, and I'm trying to find something good, but that's bigger than I want, that's bigger than I want. A lot of these are just different textures. And maybe, I mean, so symmetry, let's see, 6-way, 8-way. I mean, that seems overdoing it, but we don't have the tapered tanks. We don't have an aero section. Oh, there is a structural one. Oh, there's some taper sections here. We don't need them because we don't have any larger tanks, I think. Yep, that's the largest tank size anyway. So we might be able to use it as a nose cone, but maybe... Oh, and Shift X does not... Oh, okay. I don't want that. Does not decrease the symmetry. I thought Shift X should decrease the symmetry, but it does not. Let's see if structural has a nose cone-like thing. No, that's not going to work. No, that's a nose cone. Okay, so we have nose cones. Okay, there we go. We're in good shape, if you can call this good shape. All right, so then we have an adapter there. Now we need a stage with 5 of those J2 engines, right? So we're examining exactly how close we can get, which is not very close, but we have the engines. Or sort of. And Alt-click does not duplicate right now. So just a note. I'm just examining my... Oh, yeah, there we go. Maybe we should just have 4. Right-clicking on that does do the job. That is not what I wanted. Having 4-way symmetry after 6-way symmetry is a little bit distasteful. Not that bad, though, to be honest. Okay, so we want the same kind of engine, but 5. Well, we can put them like this. For the world's worst S2 stage. I mean, maybe we should have an extra set of tanks here. What we're going to do is we're going to see if the fuel flow happens between these tanks going in without any fuel lines, and we're also going to see whether we have enough thrust-to-weight ratio like this. Because, honestly, we might. I mean, I don't know how much fuel is actually being tucked into these. We need to refill all of them. Oh, for some reason the capture is glitching out. I thought that display capture would do, but it's not. For some reason, the vehicle editor causes a visual glitch in OBS. I thought that doing display capture solved that problem, but apparently not. So I was still getting a visual glitch in trying to capture it. I've temporarily solved the problem by removing a background, but I don't know why that was causing a problem. Anyway, we will see. But here I've got my S2 stage, which is sort of strange, but it's the best we can do right now as far as I can tell. We've got a small nose cone, and we don't... Do we have a nose cone that actually fits here? Apparently not. So we're going to have some adapter and then a nose cone. We are going to see whether crossfeed happens between the outer tanks. Well, in this case, it's not going to be clear, but up here it will be. We'll need to get staging right. That is one thing we're going to test. At least I can drag and drop things properly. That's that one, that's that one, okay. And then we need first stage, the S1C. Now that's going to be tough. We're going to have the engines, but I don't think we can get enough tanks on. Let's just start with 4 here. And we'll go with the same symmetry. So the engine that we want here is this powerful one. It's not quite the thrust of an F1, but it's close. And it's Hydrolox, unfortunately. If they could just make this a Kerolox engine, that'd be great. The LR91 either ran in real life on kerosene and oxygen or hypergolics, Aerozine and NTO. There was a hydrogen-oxygen variant of the LR87, which was the first stage engine on Titan II, but there was no hydrogen and oxygen variant of the LR91 that I know of. So, yeah. I don't know why they've got LR91s with hydrogen and oxygen anyway, though I like hydrogen and oxygen, personally. Obviously, this should be a larger engine. I don't know why this one's... we're getting into the part where glitches are happening, probably. And this is why they wanted to hide the video editor, not the video editor, the vehicle editor, I presume. These engines are smaller than the ones up there, even though they're heavier and have more thrust. Okay, well, anyway, that is a perspective. Let's add another stage. Can I move that stage? Okay, I believe I have staging right, but it's interesting. It's smoother now. This is working okay. Let's take it outside. Let me save this. This took some effort. It's a Saturn V, I swear. So what we are interested in is staging, fuel flow, and the thrust weight ratio that we have right now. Megagrams. Tons? So that's pretty close, if that's right. But let me just make sure that we have fuel and everything. Pretty close, even though it's all hydrolocks. I think we have fuel and everything. I'm just getting little menus all over the place here. Okay, I'm gonna pretend that we have fuel and everything and go with it. It seems like about the right mass, because Saturn V was 3,000 tons. If that's megagrams, then that's about right. Because we're hydrolocks. If the first stage was kerosene and oxygen, it'd be more. So, we have 100% throttle. I don't know if any RCS could potentially actually turn us here. But whatever. Thrust weight ratio 1.4. Practically perfect. Total delta V seems to be 13.7 kilometers per second, which seems about right. We're missing the lander, which would have the amount to go to the surface and get back up, which is about 5 kilometers per second. Probably the service module should have more. We changed camera view there, even though we haven't actually gotten to any new threshold. Well, we can certainly time warp through this. The staging window is messed up. Those check marks are floating. So that's not good. Okay, so we ended up with a thrust weight ratio of 3.5, which is satisfactory. And next stage. Starting with 0.5. Okay, so this is overburdened. We need smaller tanks here. Mass-wise, very close. That's very close to what it would be. Because the S2 stage is 600 tons, the S4B stage is about 120 tons, and then you got the payload. So they're just a little bit heavy. We could have put a lander on, but I don't think we have a good fairing to put around it. We do have landing legs, though. Not really a lander cabin. I don't really have any indication of how far along in the stage we are. It looks like we're just getting to halfway here. And then these... So the bottom tanks drain first. Important piece of information. Opposite to what we would expect, potentially. Well, definitely opposite to what we would expect. We've reached 16 kilometers per second, doubled our velocity compared to Earth orbit. Okay, and staging time. Alright, so we'll see how crossfeed works here. Oh, this says 0, it says. We have to put fuel in it first. Okay. Well, anyway, otherwise things are working. So let's just dump the rest of the rocket and start with this stage, but I'll make sure that we have propellant in there so we can see the results. But maybe that's an indication that it's not going to happen like that. Nice little effect there. Thrust weight ratio wise, this is about right. 0.6 is correct. And the mass is about right too. So, let's see. So yes, we will want this like this, but I want to make sure that this is refilled. Oh, it did have fuel in, but it wasn't reading it. Refill. This says, oh, that's just a tank number. The inert mass is really light. Okay, let's see. Okay, now it's full. Well, it's definitely coming from the center tank and not draining from the outer tanks yet, but maybe it just prioritizes the center tank first. We'll see. We're examining the behavior of strapped-on tanks without any fuel lines. Now it's heavier. That's the thrust weight ratio is now 0.5. But overall propellant wasn't too much extra, which is interesting. Oh, it is draining these outer tanks. Okay, so it just prioritized the inner tank first and then the outer tanks. So it'll be very important for us to get some sort of fuel priority thing, because probably we'll want it to drain the outer tanks first, then the inner tank. We'll probably also want it reversed on the stages, such that they drain the top tank and then the bottom tank. Except in very specific cases, like with a space shuttle. Okay, that's the end of that stage. And then this actually has quite a lot of propellant in. We've got 68 tons. And plenty of delta V. We're already at 20 kilometers per second. And we've got 12.3 kilometers per second here. So I don't know if it was measuring the right delta V for the whole rocket. Or maybe, well, it wasn't saying the entire delta V, because otherwise we would have accelerated more than this. So, yeah. I don't know about the delta V reading there. But we've gone through a few stages. Let's go back to the vehicle editor. And let's see if loading a vehicle works. Give us that size. There we go. Uh-oh. Yeah, I want to... Okay, that looks... I was worried about staging. It looks like it did preserve staging. So there it is. That is currently as close to a Saturn V as I think I can make in this version. I mean, we could tweak a few things, but basically, it's pretty darn close, except we don't have... It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it, but, you know, yeah. It's what it is. So there you have it. With that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time.